everybody, I'm Roxy and this is Wreck Me BS. So today I bring you my end of the year book haul. From May onwards I've purchased quite a lot of books. So I've decided to split this into 3 parts: classics, general fiction and non-fiction. So I will be uploading them quite together. Yes, this is a large haul. If you put all the videos together, I think it's almost 100 books. I'm not sure though. But bear in mind that this was throughout all the year, and I know it's a lot, but I really love buying books, and I destine some amount of money from my monthly salary to that. It's a reason why I work, one of them. So honestly, I stopped feeling guilty about this around July, so that's it. Also, December books haven't arrived yet, so those are not considered. And some of the books I carried over to somewhere else because either I finished reading them, and I've talked about them in the channel quite a lot, so yeah, I don't have some of them. More specifically, the ones that I was considering for 2020, you can find the link here. So basically, these are most of the books I've bought this year from May onwards. So let's get to it because it's a lot. So the first one I have here is the Collector's Library edition of Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. I haven't finished a Hardy book yet because I was reading The Mayor of Casterbridge, which was amazing, but I got distracted and I have to get back to it. I really like how he writes. He is descriptive, but he's really funny also in many ways, and he writes superbly. I'm also trying to collect some old editions of the Collector's Library because they have renewed their image, and although I do like their new image quite a lot, I would like to have both. I also have David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. If I could get my hands on Nicholas Nickleby in this edition, that would be great. I also bought Robert Louis Stevenson's Kidnapped and I, Claudius by Robert Graves. I also got 2 Pelican Shakespeare, because look at these covers, are amazing. I usually have Senior Classic for Shakespeare, but these ones are so great, and you can never have too much Shakespeare. So I have Midsummer Night's Dream and Julius Caesar. Moving on with the Shakespeare, I bought this at a used church book sale. Yes, they were super cheap, and they are Harvard classics, Elizabethan drama 1 and 2, and they have Shakespeare, but they also have Christopher Marlowe and Ben Jonson, Thomas Dekker, Francis Beaumont, and John Fletcher, John Webster, and Philip Massinger. Most of the Shakespeare in here I already have, but because they were so cheap, they actually, like, one of these was like 1/7 of what this cost to me. So even just for the Marlowe play, it was so worth it, and I really wanted to have some Harvard Classic editions. Okay, I also have the complete short stories of Ray Bradbury. No, not the complete, it's 100 of his most celebrated tales with an introduction by the author. Yeah, not the complete ones, but it's great. There are 100 of here. Ray Bradbury is such a great author. East of Eden, John Steinbeck. This is not in the best state ever, but it was cheap, so I'll take it. Yeah, they are in these editions by Penguin that I really like, but it's the only one I'm going to get. Oh, I want to get like the novels, because the short novellas I'm going to get. I already actually ordered the Penguin Deluxe edition that looks like this, and it's bound to arrive when I'm in Europe, so isn't that ironic? Then I have this little play, Echoes. Yes, that one about a guy who's obsessed with his horse, which came to my knowledge for the first time because it was the first thing Daniel Radcliffe did after Harry Potter. I was really young when that happened, and I remember I was so shocked. Then this was a present actually by A Secret Santa, Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne, or Verne, I don't know how you say it in English, but we actually even translate the U's, we say Julio Verne. Anyways, this is one of my favorite Verne. I've read it in Spanish and I would love to read it in English. Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand was such an influential thinker. I don't remember what this is about. I remember The Fountainhead. And if I find The Fountainhead in the same edition, I'm going to get it because I think it's gorgeous and I've seen it online and it's blue and they go like really well together. So I bought that one first on a recommendation. I have these beautiful modern library editions of John Milton's Paradise Lost. Again, I want to read it soon. I also like that it has like notes, which is useful because they say this epic poem is extremely complex. So there you go. Then I have Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. I didn't have any Alice in Wonderland in English. I had it in Spanish, and although I really love my editions because they are amazing, I do need an edition in English, and this one in particular is to, you know, write on and highlight and mark all over. But I also have this beautiful edition in English, which is definitely not to write on, which is illustrated by Salvador Dali. I love Salvador Dali. He's one of my favorite painters and artists ever. I love surrealism, but him in particular, I like that he was able to make his art so commercial and so present in everyday life, but still keeping his essence, and I think that's great. It has like illustrations such as these. Then I also have Les Miserables. Yeah, I said that horrible, but Victor Hugo, this is a chongster, but we all know that. I really want to read this. Then let's continue. I have Leaves of Grass, Walt Whitman's only like large collection. I love Walt Whitman, and I have another book by him that includes some poems from Leaves of Grass, but this is like one of the early complete editions, so yeah, it was also quite cheap. I also have the complete shorter fiction of Virginia Woolf. I'm in love with Virginia Woolf, even though I've only read like 3 essays by her and Mrs. Dalloway, and that's it. But everything I've read by her has blown me away, and this actually has some Mrs. Dalloway short stories in here. Then I have The Picture of Dorian Gray. This was actually a present again, a Christmas present to write on, because I have 3 editions of it. One I got this year, but I have none to like just write on and mark up, and I want to do some projects for my literary classes with The Picture of Dorian Gray, so I need like a copy to just mark up. Then I have the complete novels of Flann O'Brien, which are 5 if I'm not mistaken. They are not long novels. I think there's a lot in here. Yeah, Flann O'Brien is so funny. I've read some of his columns, and he's supposed to be like not only funny but kind of kooky and kind of magical realism-ish. So yeah, I'm excited. You know, I'm so into Irish fiction right now. I also have, lo and behold, this beautiful, absolutely stunning edition of the original folk and fairy tales of Brothers Grimm. A lot of people claim like, oh, Disney ruined the Brothers Grimm tales, blah blah blah. No, the Grimms were already cleaning them up, so they were more up for children. But originally, yes, they were quite bloody, and this is that earliest edition. For the first time, all collected and translated into English. So if you're into it, I highly recommend you get this. I have The Picture of Dorian Gray in this beautiful Barnes & Noble Flexi-bound classics, which I really adore. In my book haul in Rio that you will find here, I bought Tom Sawyer in this edition, and I'm also expecting to buy Huckleberry Finn. I also have a compilation of Tom Wolfe. It says The Purple Decades, a reader. So I haven't read any Tom Wolfe. I really like readers in general, like samplers, because it has some shorter fiction that's complete. It also has like from certain novels, which I think is cool. It was also really cheap, secondhand, and yes. I also have the collected stories of William Faulkner. So again, not complete tales, but some. I haven't read any William Faulkner. Then I have Tess of the Ubervilles by Thomas Hardy. This cover is quite nice, although well, there's the price. It's in its package. still, but it's really nice. It's really convenient, and yeah, more Thomas Hardy for me to read. This essay, which was kind of ruined by my postal service, and they didn't pay for it. But anyways, this is In Praise of Shadows by Junichiro Tanizaki. This is technically non-fiction, but since it's such a classic, I include it here. And yeah, it's like an aesthetic reflection on shadows. I also have The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, and I haven't read this yet. I should. I'm not too fond of this edition, but it was so cheap that I got it. I mean, I usually love vintage classics, but this cover, not a fan, but it was really cheap, so there you go. Then I have Irish Fairy and Folk Tales by William Butler Yeats. I just love Yeats. He's great. He was such an important figure of Irish revival, and I love the fact that he was both a collector and a generator of literature. His poems are amazing. And speaking of which, I also have When You Are Old, Early Poems and Fairy Tales. Then I have White Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys. I never know how to pronounce that. This is the Jane Eyre tale based on a character that, if you haven't read Jane Eyre, it's kind of a spoiler, so don't read this unless you've read Jane Eyre. But it was recommended by a teacher, and I am reading Jane Eyre, so. Then I have The Italian Girl by Iris Murdoch. I haven't read any Iris Murdoch, and I really should. Then I have Three Novels of New York by Edith Wharton. Why do I hesitate with names that I know? 150th Anniversary Edition by Penguin. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful book. Then I have The Persian Boy by Marie Renaud. So she's written a lot. I haven't read any of that, but like, she writes a lot of historical fiction set in ancient Greece, and I'm just really interested in the subject. And finally, this is my baby, and I've been waiting to show this to you and to take it home. I don't have space for it yet, but I will. This is the complete poems of E.E. Cummings. And if you haven't read E.E. Cummings, please do. He's amazing. The way he plays with meaning and sound and form, it's just amazing. He's one of my favorite poets. He's so good. Please read him. That was my first part of my end of the year book haul. If you want to check out more from me, you can of course subscribe, check out some videos that I always leave here, and comment what you think of these books. Have you read any of them? Would you like to? And see you next time, because they are really small and portable, and oh my god, they have a little card with a QR. Nice! I didn't know that, like QR code. Yay! I've showed you this book because 2020. Yeah, I will film an update for that, but let's just say it's not going well. So eager to read more from Edith Wharton because she was amazing, and yeah.